So I just want to come on here and put my sunglasses on because I just know that I'm about to be talking to someone who just radiates a beautiful essence and light. I just know that I'm about to be talking to somebody who doesn't even know who they are, what they're capable of, what they possess inside of them. And sometimes your light shines so bright that you get around people who just start being reactive. They don't know why, they are reactive and responsive and just crazy around you. Somebody like me, you see, I want to be in your light. I want to absorb it because I have my own. So I'm okay with just putting my shades on and letting you be you, but there are others who cannot handle that. So today, we are going to be talking about how you are a disruptor and how sometimes that comes with a lot of haters and a lot of naysayers. And guess what? That is A-okay. It's all right. Let's get into it. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Resistance is Futile, where we are building the capacity to hold the tension of life circumstances. We do not run from what is difficult. We go through it. We listen to God. We trust Him with His plan in our lives, and we move forward. We proceed and just trust. We're doing the thing. Now, I know I'm silly. I know I'm ridiculous. I was carrying on, but I really do want to talk about this. This is a topic that I find interesting, and because I'm dealing with it, I am living in it. If you're not familiar with me or my story, I am Taylor. I have moved to the UK. I got a job opportunity which felt like it came at the right time. I wanted to do something new, and I trusted God and took the leap of faith to move. I'm so very lucky that I get to have and explore this different life, this new country. Of course, England has many great things and many, maybe some would call annoying things. I am going through the process altogether, and it is a blessing, and I definitely know that the Lord has established this for me. But in this process, there have been challenges. There have been cultural differences. There has been some humbling, and there have been naysayers, whether it was before I was coming over here and, you want to share good news with people. And there have been, people, of course, so many supporters, more supporters than the negative, right? But in particular, I want to review this video that I came across in the interweb about this young lady talking about happy Black girls, the bubbly Black girl, she calls it. And she's got some things to say, and I'd like to admit I'm kind of with her in a lot of places. Let's watch.
To say this, but as a member of the pretty bubbly Black girl delegation, it doesn't get better. It doesn't get better. In fact, it gets worse. People are going to constantly pick at you your entire life. People are going to constantly hate your voice. People are going to constantly not like you for whatever reason that they've made up in their head. People are going to constantly try to break you down. I don't know why people hate bubbly Black girls so much. I don't know why there's such a visceral reaction when you are bubbly, when you are happy, when you're kind, when you just have a bubbly spirit. It produces such a visceral reaction. People want to pick at you. It is like you become an easy target, and unfortunately, it does not get better. No matter what space you're in, we could be talking about work, we could be talking about school. It doesn't matter, nursing programs. in every single group dynamic, the bubbly black girl becomes the target. People will see the bubbly black girl and they instantly feel like she hasn't had a hard time in her life. They feel like she hasn't gone through anything. It's like they always want to humble personalities like that. They feel like she hasn't gone through a hard enough experience, and so they want to give her that. And even people who have a position of power react like this, like your teacher could treat you differently. Classmates can treat you differently. Your own boyfriend or partner can treat you differently, all because in their head, they feel like you haven't had a tough enough experience. White bubbly girls do not get the same treatment because in a lot of people's heads, she's supposed to act like that. That's how she's supposed to act. But for a black woman, in their mind, you don't fit the angry black woman trope. So you have no business being bubbly. So when you come in happy and bubbly and energetic and sweet and kind, they want to break you down. People become obsessed with the bubbly black girl. But do not allow yourself to be a victim. It just takes one time for you to make an example out of someone and they will never mess with you.
Okay, so she said a lot and a lot that I can indeed relate to. Now, a lot of the subtext of what she's talking about is race. She's talking about being bubbly, being happy, but being black in spaces where you're not expected to, where you're expected to be sad or, just not happy. You as a black woman aren't supposed to possess the joy that you have, the natural light that you possess. But I do also, even though I 100% agree about the race dynamic, and I know it exists because I live it daily, I just want to talk about joy and what that means to be full of joy. And this is something that has been particularly hard for me, and I've, talked to my mom and my sisters about it, and I said, I just don't know what it is. I have walked into spaces just being the best version of me that I can be, and that's not necessarily meaning I'm putting any extra effort. I'm just being myself, kind, open, talkative when it's necessary and appropriate, responsive when it's appropriate, engaging because that's the kind of person that I am. And I've really sometimes internalized and why there are people who are negatively reacted to me. I actually find that it is often more covert. So it's not that I'm showing up as myself and then someone is like rolling their eyes, right? It actually, and this might be the cultural British way of doing things, but I find that I'm engaging and it may seem like the person that I'm talking to is also engaging and is also excited, but then they just have something undercutting. There's always something. It's always looking or correcting for something that maybe I've said wrong or done wrong. They don't know why they do it, but it just happens. And I 100% now understand that has nothing to do with me. I cannot help that there is a light that is here. I cannot help but to stand up into it. The Lord put it within me. But not all the time are other people willing to see that light and absorb it and appreciate it for what it is. It took me a minute to understand that is a them issue, not a Taylor issue. I also want to talk about being called into a place and being a disruptor of the space that you are in. I recognize that I am in Brighton and Hove. If you are of faith, you might consider this a very worldly environment. I recognize that I want to be walking in the reflection of God. And not a lot of people are willing to talk about God in England. It's actually more suppressed and quiet here. Before I moved, I understood that there was like a silent revival or like a quiet revival. And obviously you will see that, there are people here who want to spread the word of God. I've met a few of them, right? But largely this is an environment that doesn't necessarily accept the faith that I have. And so that in and of itself poses some challenges on the surface level, but also on a spiritual level. Like, I see this thing. It's not that they even understand that they're doing it, because I believe that it's spiritual. I believe that something underneath them is bothered and they are able to be used by the enemy to hate. But they are temporary and light afflictions, nothing that we cannot get over or work past. But it is frustrating, I can't lie, to know that I can't just show, or it feels like I can't just show up in a space and be entirely myself. I also want to think about the fact that I came into this country knowing that I was coming to do a job. And so I knew that I had to come and show up and do my job well, right? But at the same time, sometimes you'll go into a space thinking that you're doing one thing and you actually are doing many other things that you had no idea God was working in the background. So I think about somebody like David in the Bible. I often talk about David. I love David. I think about him because he was called by Saul's side to play the lyre and sing. He was called to help Saul feel better while he was going through his sicknesses. He didn't know that he possessed in him the power that the Lord would give him the power to eventually overthrow Saul and become the king. He was planted there to do one thing, but he actually was going to do something else. And I think about my role here and what it is that God is doing in my life in England. And I know that on the surface, I am doing a job, but much more than that, I am probably shifting things in people that they don't recognize in themselves. Something about, again, being this bubbly black girl, I think it makes people, and particularly white people, aware of where they stand when it comes to me. I'm now stepping into their space with full confidence, believing and knowing that I belong here. And that makes them uncomfortable if they haven't ever been around someone like me. And just imagine how we are polarized in their eyes. If I were to talk about all the crazy things that I've had people say to me, as if I were to be accountable, I think I had at some point say to me, like, isn't there so much crime? Why do you think there's so much crime in the States? As if that's a question that I would be able to answer. Oh, the microaggressions, the passive aggressiveness, it's so much. It's so much. I can't even get into it. The Lord has graced me. He has allowed me to be able to keep joy even in people's curiosities. And so she also brings up, I think, but she brings up a point about how even people with positions of power, they themselves are bothered. They feel like they need to humble you, like you have no right to feel this proud and sure of yourself. They don't even know. Again, Saul and David, he became jealous of David because eventually he would recognize the power that David possessed in him just by slaying Goliath, and then eventually would possess by becoming king. Threatened. It is a threatening that they themselves are oblivious to, but they find themselves needing to humble you or put you down for whatever reason. So as a disruptor, I have learned to count it all joy, James 1, I have said before, will say it again, is one of my favorite scriptures because we are supposed to count it all joy in the trials that other people are pushing onto us. We're supposed to keep our heads up, held up high. Chin up is what my good friend Tiff had said to me before I left the States and came over here. She said, always chin up, baby. Always chin up. That stuck with me because I knew that times like this would come. This isn't the first environment that I've been in where I would deal with naysayers or people who are energetically disrupted by my disruption. Even though I'm not trying to be offensive, somehow I just am. And that gives them a cause for pause and a cause for subconscious hate. And I'll give them subconscious. I think a lot of the times that it is. Yeah, I've learned to keep this joy because it's been reiterated over the last month, which is why I know it's important for me to say it right now. This joy that we have, the world didn't give, and the world can't take it away. They simply can't. They want to, but it's a light. So my joy doesn't come from the things. It comes from the Lord who lives within me. It comes from the Holy Spirit who constantly is working in my life, who covers me, who protects me, who shields me. He is the joy that I have. It can't be taken away. I also think about, as a disruptor, the fact that you sometimes have to play the long game. I was doing something the other day, and something that bubbled up in my spirit was that you cannot allow the humbling season to humiliate you. And for me, of course, coming to a new country, I would be humbled naturally because I have to do things and learn things that are different than how I'm used to doing them. I would have to assimilate in some ways to this culture. And so that is humbling. You do have to have a humble spirit to be corrected, even when it is a way that is just natural, right? Being helped by people who actually sincerely want to help you as an American in a foreign land. That is humbling. And I thank God for the humbling because I think that sometimes He brings us low to bring us higher. That doesn't particularly mean that I need to feel humiliated by this humbling. I am still called to live in my purpose and live in my confidence, step up into myself, which has been a journey for me to learn how to just step up into the entirety of who I am. And I won't be humiliated by that. Yeah, I'll make some mistakes. I'll fall short at times. I'll say something wrong. We're human. I'm a human. But I won't be humiliated by this because I am on a journey. And I think that's important for someone else, the person that I'm talking to, who is also a disruptor, to not get humiliated when you're being humbled by just the simple lessons of life. Don't hide from God in this season where it feels like maybe He's a little quiet because He's allowing you to learn. I don't know who used this metaphor, but we are all at different stages in our life with Christ in our faith walks, and I still consider myself a baby, but I definitely believe that the Lord is trying to grow me up. And so there was a season when I was just becoming close to Him that He was on me. I would pray about something, I would see His response quickly. And I think when He's put me into this wilderness, I should call it, He's also backed off a little bit so that I could, one, show up and do the things that He's taught me to do, show up in my character in the way that He's already trained me up to be. And two, so that I could continue to learn and lean on Him. He has made me completely dependent on Him. And I think that is the purpose sometimes, to remember that in the humbling, we should always remember that we need Him now more than ever. And we cannot just do things without Him. I need Him. I can't do a thing without Him. Us disruptors to spaces, we are carrying something spiritual. I have felt that more and more, that the Lord is just doing something internally to the people around me. Now, I I've talked a lot about the naysayers, but I do want to talk about the people that I feel who are gravitating towards me in a positive way. Some woman I was listening to the other day, I actually want to link her video here because it was so helpful, but she was saying that light attracts everything, the good and the bad. But as a disruptor, also pay attention to the people who, not just the naysayers, but also the people who are gravitating towards you because they see the light and they like it, they admire it, they're not sure what it is, but they do see it and they don't hate or are not jealous from it. So those are just a few things that have come up for me. I do want to wrap this up here, and I thank you all for listening. If you have been fed by this video, if you've been fed by anything that I've said, now's a good opportunity to click that like button, to click that subscribe button. It's free, it's simple. It helps other people who are like-minded to get to me, and so I appreciate your little 1-2 that you could do. So yeah. The naysayers, they gonna say what they say. Haters, they gonna hate, 3LW, all of that thing. No matter what, keep your joy. Do not feel humiliated by the things that you have to learn in the season. They can't take it from you. They can't take it from you. It's not theirs to take. It's an internal light that comes from the Lord, our Savior, Jesus Christ. I love y'all. Nothing you could do about it. Later.